Okay, I just got to jump on here and do another video because there are some things that are so wrong about Canada and I just can't stay silent any longer. So here it goes. Probably going to get some hate for this, but probably going to get a lot of love from people who agree with me, so maybe that'll make it worth it. This country it doesn't feel like Canada anymore. And it's not because of the firearms confiscation, which really gets to me. I just did a video on that recently, so if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's not about the transgender ideology that's permeated through every level of our society, sexualizing and confusing our kids from extremely young ages. It's not about the critical race theory that's being taught in schools. It's not about Mark Carney's green grift scam, which includes the carbon tax, the EV mandates, the tanker bans, the emissions caps, and it is essentially just huge shackles around our oil and gas industry. It's not about the erosion of our freedoms of speech and compelled speech laws in this country. It's not about the middle finger that we're giving to the United States and our economic merger with the Chinese Communist Party. It's not about the rampant homelessness, the fentanyl crisis that's making our cities look like an episode of The Walking Dead. It's not about the promotion of the MAID program that's giving vulnerable people this opportunity, this suggestion that they can just leave the earth behind like it's some cinematic road trip to Tofino. It's not about the liberals jailing pastors during the pandemic because they're having church services when big box stores were packed beyond fire code. It's not because they froze the bank accounts of everyday citizens who supported the protest against the mandatory jabs. It's not because our current Prime Minister, Mark Carney, is another liberal globalist elite, part of the World Economic Forum, and every policy decision that he makes seems to be another deal with Brookfield. And it's not because of the billions of dollars that we've sent to Ukraine, which seems to do nothing to help the situation over there. And I'm totally for supporting Ukraine. My own wife escaped there in the middle of her city being bombed, and now it's completely destroyed. And they continue to bomb it day after day. I'm just not sure that the money that we're sending is helping. And it is actually because of all those things. But every day when I put my big boy pants on and I go into the world to make a living, it's what I observe happening around me. It's my interactions, and it's upsetting. And it's clearly the result of mass immigration. Now, unfortunately, because people don't know my heart, I have to preface to say this, that I'm not a racist. Far from it. It goes against my faith to discriminate, to be hateful against any particular group of people. I love all sorts of people, but you can love people and not love what they do. You can love people and not love the results of mass immigration in this country. I got friends that are East Indian, Black, Asian, French, you name it. And really, we're all immigrants here in a sense. But here in Alberta, and everywhere I look, everywhere I drive, I see a lot of immigrants, particularly East Indians and Arabs and Somalians. And I drive to new construction sites every day in the city for my job, and I interact with nothing but East Indians. When I'm driving down the road, I see nothing but East Indians. When I look in semi-trucks, I see nothing but East Indians. And I think it's no secret that they've completely taken over our transportation industry. A little while ago, I was at a leisure center in Edmonton, and I was the only white person in the change room. It was mostly Somalians and Arabs and one Chinese guy. And I don't even see Chinese people anymore. Like, I don't see them, and I used to. And please, Chinese people, don't go away, because I really love me a bowl of wonton noodle soup. It's my favorite food. But seriously, like, every time I see somebody driving down slow on the road or doing something stupid on the road, I look over and it's a foreigner. And multiple times per day, everywhere I look, it's like, where did the Canadians go? Like, did they move to the US? Did they move to Thailand? Are we exchanging countries now with other nations? Is there some kind of massive foreign exchange program that I don't know about? You know, I know that I'm right, and I know that I'm not the only one. And just comment below if you feel like you're not the only one, because honestly, I'd love to know how you feel. Just keep the comments friendly. And so I'm just looking around, and when I'm looking around and I'm seeing all these foreigners, it's not necessarily that I'm seeing all these foreigners that's a problem. It's what the results are of them being here. And so we got to dive into some facts, all right? So mass immigration has made it so that there are barely any housing available, right? Outside of the data, I can attest to this myself. Like I said, I drive to all the new communities around the Edmonton surrounding area with newly built homes, and all I see is East Indians. I even smell East Indian food, and I see East Indian ladies that are pregnant pushing strollers down the streets. And this is huge because Canadians can't even afford housing, especially not the younger generation or first-time homebuyers like myself. And I'm 39 years old. And before this mass immigration happened, we were building around 250 to 300 houses per year. Now we're building the same amount of houses, but the experts are saying that in order to keep up with the demand, we need to build twice as many homes. And we're not doing that. Daniel Smith recently said, just in Alberta, our population increased by more than 600,000 people over the past 5 years. And how much of that is Canadians moving here from other provinces? I'm not sure, but there's got to be a vast majority that is from other countries. The other thing that's being affected by mass immigration is our healthcare system. And there's just no question that these immigrants are straining our healthcare system. Like, I had to cancel an MRI for a knee that I had surgery on like 3 days ago. I had to cancel the MRI. And do you know how long it's going to take me to get back on that list? 6 months. And I've already been waiting 6 months. I just saw a video of a girl with a suspected brain tumor, and she now has to wait 13 months for an MRI. Like, this is Canada. This is a developed country, and we can't even get our own citizens to get diagnostic imaging for serious pathologies. Meanwhile, it's totally okay to give billions of our dollars to Ukraine or spend billions of dollars on gender equality initiatives in other countries. According to the Western Standard, we've spent roughly $11 billion on overseas gender programs. And here's what Pierre Poilievre had to say about it in the House of Commons.
Canadians deserve good quality health care. But after a decade of this Liberal government, 6 million Canadians do not have a family doctor. Part of the reason is that mass, out-of-control Liberal immigration has overwhelmed the system. And many of those resources are going to people who are here illegally and have been rejected. There has been a 1,000% increase in the cost of providing deluxe benefits to many people who are here illegally. Will the Prime Minister reverse this policy, support our motion, and put Canadians first for health care?
And here was Carney's reaction.
This government has reduced the number of temporary workers in this country by 50%, the demanders of asylum seekers by 1/3, and we're moderate.
The other thing that we have a problem with is jobs, right? I don't even need to tell you. When you go to a Tim Hortons, trying to find a Canadian is like trying to find Wi-Fi in the mountains. Same with delivery services, driving services, and meanwhile, the lineups for Canadians at job fairs are so long, I'm pretty sure some of those people aged into retirement before they got to see a recruiter. There's also some major problems within the system that are rampant. Things that are happening that we wouldn't normally hear about unless if it was for a whistleblower coming out and saying the way things are. For example, there was a former member of the Refugee and Immigration Board of Canada that alleged that since 2019 there have been thousands of refugee claimants that have been approved by the Immigration and Refugee Board, unseen in person by the board, just based on a piece of paper that they submit. Normally, they need to conduct in-person adjudication so they can figure out who they are, right? This gentleman basically said that usually like you need to sit down for an in-person interview, right? So that we can determine you are who you say you are, that you are where you came from, that you're not a terrorist, right? We need to know information. And that's not even happening. Instead, they're just rubber stamping pieces of paper. And so far, they've let around 25,000 people come into this country under this particular refugee status. So there's like this loophole that people are just claiming they're from different countries and probably claiming that they're like LGBTQ, you know, and because of their sex orientation, they're being persecuted in their country, and you know, or who knows, maybe they're Muslims and they're saying that they're Christians and they're being persecuted by the regime. And Canada goes, okay, all right, well, we'll let you in. And now we have thousands of unvetted people that have come into this country. Even our own intelligence agency, CSIS, thinks that it's a major security risk to the country. They're actually warning Canadians of Iranian-directed terrorism, including sleeper cells, and telling people that they're entering Canada improperly through this refugee process. Another thing that's really bugging me a lot, probably one of the biggest things, is that a lot of people come here and they don't speak a lick of English. Like, I don't even know how they're allowed in the country without passing some kind of oral and written proficiency exam. Because do you know how hard it is to communicate with somebody that doesn't speak English? I'm sure you know. And it's frustrating, right? Like at work, in public, at the grocery store, when I have contractors come to my house, right? And then they walk in and they talk to each other and they speak in Punjab right in front of you. And you have no idea what they're saying. And even when you're like, sorry, can you tell me what you're talking about? They're like, oh, sorry. And then they just keep talking in Punjab again. Like, just out of respect, if you come to this country, you need to speak the language, right? If you don't, please be doing some Duolingo. Take classes on the weekend. Because when it comes to people in important positions, like in healthcare, paramedics, people talking to me about my house, right? Discussing important things on the job site. If I can't understand you, it makes me really frustrated, and it makes everyone else really frustrated. And especially if you're going to live here. You should be making an effort to speak English and pronounce words properly every day so people can understand and society just can function properly. The other thing that really gets me is that the Indians, the East Indians and the Arabs that come here can be really rude. And not all of them. Like, I talk to a lot of them that are really nice people, especially when you get talking to them, you get to know them. There's a large portion, though, that don't have any manners. They don't hold the door open for you. They don't say thank you when you hold the door open for them. They cut you off in traffic, and then they drive slow as hell right in front of you. They don't wave when you let them in. They don't know how to merge onto the highway properly. If you come to Canada, please just take some driver training and take it from a Canadian instructor. And what's with people that are talking on the phone so loud in public areas that you're not supposed to, or that it's supposed to be quiet? Like, I was on the plane a little while ago, and this East Indian guy was like playing a video of another East Indian guy speaking at full volume. I couldn't believe it. Like, I asked him, like, do you have any headphones? And of course he didn't understand me, and he just kept playing the volume up super loud. Then I had to interrupt him again and say, do you have headphones? Like, motioning to the ears. Headphones? And he finally got the message and turned off his phone. But this happens so often. Like, you get East Indians coming in to apply for jobs, talking loudly on the speakerphone in their, like, loud language in a professional office setting. Like, do you want the job, man? Like, you know, in order to get a job, like, you have to have a certain amount of etiquette to get a job in this country. And don't even get me started on the benefits and the temporary, the foreign worker benefits and students are getting and refugees are taking advantage of. Did you know that in Canada we have a program called the Settlement Assistance Program, which gives refugees up to $1,000 per month for a whole year, including a startup payment up to $2,500? I mean, it can be good if you need that. Like I said, my wife fled the Ukraine war with nothing but a backpack and a suitcase and left everything behind to come here. And although she didn't take advantage of that program, it probably could have helped her out. But instead, she got a job right away when she got here, and she's been working since. But it's the volume. It's how people qualify for this refugee program and how many people are taking advantage of it, along with all the other benefits they get while staying here. And us Canadian taxpayers are paying for it, right? The other thing that's a big issue is a lot of immigrants that are coming here, their religion is predominantly Islam, right? Meaning they're Muslims. And I got to tell you, Islam is not a religion that coexists very well with Western values. It's antithetical to Western values. And some Muslims that come here have been pretty vocal about wanting to institute Sharia law in this country, which is pretty scary because Sharia law is it's like a totalitarian legal and political doctrine that permits the use of extreme violence, it oppresses women, it permits men to flog their wives if they're disobedient or arrogant. There's punishment of amputation for theft. You can get executed if you're gay or trans, and although I don't agree with that lifestyle as a prescription for everyone in society, I certainly wouldn't wish death upon those people. But there are other things that threaten our Canadian values, and that's one of them. And radical Islamic jihadists. Again, our intelligence agency has warned Canadians to be vigilant because there is a concerning increase in violence in this country. Listen to this guy being interviewed by Rebel News.
Okay, so would you like to see Sharia law in Canada replace Canadian law?
At some point it will, because we have families, we are making babies. You're not. Your population is going down the slump, right? Yeah. And by 2060, according to Pew Research Institute, your research, by 2060, Muslims will be the biggest religious group the world over. Right. What are you going to do then? Actually, are you going to oppose Sharia even then? Just like you had a Western majority nation in a land of Native Americans, one day we can have a Muslim majority nation here in Canada. Right in your face.
Did you know that Albertans' official top baby names list for 2025 is Muhammad, and it ranks number 1? So this is a situation so big, it's pretty hard to ignore now. It's even getting the attention of the Americans. Check out this, Patrick McDavid sharing with us how many people have come to this country since 2020.
So a couple of things here when you said immigration. I want to show you something with immigration which was shocking to me when I pulled up the data. So I looked at what countries most residents, new permanent residents, are coming into Canada, because a number starts around 2022. Rob, if you can show up the data that shows the spike in immigration, it's that one right there. You look at this, the net international migration from 1952 to 2023, you're getting some people coming in, maybe 200,000 on average, 100,000 on average. All of a sudden, boom, 1.2 million. And I looked at the numbers. In 2022, the number one country that immigrants came in from, 27% was India, 118. China's number 2, then Afghanistan, Nigeria, Philippines, France, Pakistan, Iran, U.S., then Syria. This is 2022. 2023, India, China, Philippines, Afghanistan, Nigeria, Pakistan, Cameroon, Eritrea, Iran, U.S. 2024, India, Philippines, China, Cameroon, Nigeria, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran, France. Okay. Then I pulled up a number just to kind of see. In Canada, in 1991, according to the Canadian census, the Muslim population in Canada was 0.9%. The Muslim population today in Canada is 5%. Okay. That's based on your census that you have.
You're right about it.
And then the other number that was also shocking is in 2023, population grew by 1.27 million in Canada. Of the people that grew, the number of kids that you guys had that contributed to the 1.27 million was only 2.4%. 97.6% were people that came in from other countries. That's not necessarily a growth that some people would call that an invasion. So
the problem is that we're bringing in way too many immigrants and our infrastructure cannot support it. And yes, the federal government is saying that they're going to tighten down on immigration, but I'll believe it when I see it. There's a reason why Daniel Smith is holding a referendum on these issues. So my advice to you is just to be aware of the situation that we're in, right? Understand how mass immigration affects our economy, how it's destroying our country, how it's changing the face of it, how it's changing our culture, even if we have one anymore. You know, one thing about Canadians is that we've always been really nice people, you know, and it's probably to our detriment. And I think that we still should be nice. We still should be loving. We still should be compassionate all at the same time. But you don't have to love what people do, like I said. And I really believe that the only way to make a difference is through love for our neighbor. And sometimes in order to fully love, you got to be salty and you got to speak the truth. So speak up or change won't happen. And if you vibe with this, feel free to share it out. I think the more and more people that see this, that are encouraged to speak up for themselves, the better. And if you want to hear more rants from me, then you know what to do. All right. Have a good day.